Namaskar, Mr. Sanjay Jain.
Namaskar.
Welcome to the Sadbhavana channel.
Yeah.
And today we are talking about interfaith dialogue. So, you are from the Jain community,
Yeah.
and it is very essential for us to know the perspectives of the Jain community regarding interfaith dialogue. So, my first question to you is, in the context of the world, given how there are issues there are between communities in various parts of the world, all across the world, in America, or be it in Europe, or be it in West Asia, how do you think interfaith dialogue can help bridge divides in the global context?
I am so happy that you have asked a question which I think is more relevant today than it has been any time in the past. You see, the world is very diverse. The nature, the culture, the livelihood, the economies, the geography, they are all diverse. And diversity requires that we need to appreciate what we don't have.
True.
We cannot have everything in the world. For that matter, no one can have everything. But unfortunately, what happens that when people or organizations they start thinking beyond what they have, well, to some extent, it may be okay, tolerable. But then a point comes when the greed increases so much that they want to usurp what others have. Resources are limited in the global context. I mean, they may be large, but then eventually they are limited. So when this feeling creeps in, it leads to tensions. It leads to animosity. It leads to a tendency of you know uh, taking the other resources by any which way, by hook or by crook. So this is where we need to control. It can be control or self-control, both. Now coming to the interfaith, see, I don't say that I know everything about religion, but whatever little I know, especially from the Jain community and having been involved in a large number of interfaith dialogues, there is no religion which subscribes to such tendencies. Greed.
Yes.
So the religions, all religions, including the Jain religions, they speak of tolerance. Now, you see what is happening in the West,
Yes.
the Middle East,
Yes.
then look at what is happening in Russia, Ukraine,
Yes.
recently in Venezuela, in Iran. There is a lot of unrest,
Yes.
which is not good, not only for humanity but nature as such. We need to somehow ensure that there is more tolerance, some kind of equi distribution, and resources for all. So, apart from what the economic theories may propagate, the religion is slightly different.
Yes.
Economy may say it is all profit oriented, but religion is not profit oriented.
True.
It is human oriented, it is passion oriented, it is emotion oriented, and it is love for all oriented. Jainism, the fundamental on which the Jainism started, there are two, three very important, the aspects. One is it says live and let live. Second, ahimsa parmo dharma. Apart from the other, facets of Jainism, which I'll come to in a little while. So when we talk of live and let live, it says that you live and you let others live.
Yes.
Everybody, whoever has come to the earth or the globe, has his or her own right to live and exist.
Yes.
So one has the right, but also one has to ensure that the other right are not affected by our greed. So we have to live, let the others also live. So the basic principle is I live, you live, everybody lives, and we live in harmony. Second principle is ahimsa parmo dharma. So ahimsa is non-violence. So which means that the biggest religion is non-violence. So the entire Jainism revolves around this most fundamental thing, that is non-violence. Now, how do you use this in global context? If we we have a classic example of Gandhiji.
Yes.
I don't know how well it is documented, but in our own scriptures, it is mentioned that when he was young, he was also under the influence of some people from the Jain community. He being a person from Gujarat, Gujarat has a large Jain community.
Yes.
So for people, Jainism is not new there. It is almost like a part of their culture who lives in Gujarat. So he had seen from his childhood the concept of ahimsa, which is followed by the Jain community. And so when he actually fought all the powers, the leading powers in those days, he fought on ahimsa.
Yes.
Even when he went to South Africa, he propagated ahimsa. And in India, he to the fullest, he propagated ahimsa, and he said that we will attain independence through ahimsa.
Yes.
So when such difficult task of getting independence was not very easy, it was very difficult task. We started in late 1850s and started. It took us almost 100 years. So this war of 100 years could be won. There are many facets to that, but a principal thing which was responsible was ahimsa. So when we can gain independence, we can convince those who had overpowered us to leave us as we are, which means that ahimsa is a very powerful tool, and it is a very powerful tool not only for negotiation but also to convince others. So I think that the next thing is that in interfaith atmosphere, all religions preach brotherhood and love. So when we do these interfaith dialogues, we talk about these things. What happens that unfortunately we are not able to replicate it on the ground in the dimensions in which it is required.
True. I think that you made a very valid point that the teachings of ahimsa and non-violence are the answers to the troubles facing our world today. Be it the troubles of the Ukraine-Russia war, be it the troubles of Israel and Palestine conflict, be it the conflict in Iran, be it in other places. Ahimsa, the Gandhiji's preaching of non-violence is very important. So going ahead, taking our discussion forward, now, sir, you know it very well, and we all know it very well, that how different religious communities have been persecuted in India across different time periods. In the ancient period or pre-modern, pre-medieval Indian period, the Buddhist and the Jain communities were persecuted.
Yeah.
In the medieval period, sections of the Hindu community were persecuted, and in the modern period, sections of the Muslim and Christian communities are persecuted. So, keeping this in mind and keeping this bouquet of flowers that is India in mind, how do you think from the Jain context, Jain religion context, can interreligious dialogue solve our problems?
Yeah. So again, I feel it's a very relevant question because even in our own country, we are of late constantly facing a huge problem, uh, and obviously it could be attributed to the diversity in the religious followings in our country, cultural and religious following. There is a huge diversity from state to state, within the state, from district to district. There is a massive diversity, and we have, for so many centuries, we have managed to pull out of all these diversities in a positive manner. We have evolved, we have developed, and I think it was primarily because we all had a community feeling.
Yes.
We all had a feeling of brotherhood, love for neighbors, love for the community. And I remember when I was a child and I would go to a village. So they would not say that it's a marriage of a particular family. They would say that in our village, so and so is getting married. So the even if the marriage was for a particular family, in a particular family, the village would treat it as their family's marriage. So that was the kind of brotherhood which existed. If somebody fell ill, then the entire village was there. If somebody was going abroad, the entire village was there to see him off. If somebody was coming to the village, the entire village would be there. And so was with the small towns. But this has gradually, this feeling is getting dissipated. And because of that, there was so much of interdependence and harmony that in my childhood, you will be surprised. I was studying in a school, CBSE school, and it was only after I finished my school that I realized that my classmates were from different religion.
Interesting.
We never thought in those contexts that he is a Sikh, or he is a Muslim, or he is a Christian, or he is a Hindu. We were all together, we were all classmates, and we lived together, we studied together, we played together, we fought together, we loved each other, and we grew together. So it was only when we started moving towards the college that this difference became slightly more evident, and we realized. But we also saw the pitfalls in that. So you are right that it is very relevant, and if something is not done at the earliest, uh, things may deteriorate much further and go out of control.
So, keeping in mind what's happening, what is your message for the country and for your youth today? What's the solution? The best way
Yeah,
forward.
yeah, it is very, very, very important, because the future is in the hands of the youth, and they are the ones who will be in the position of power where decisions can be made and implemented. So it is extremely, extremely important that the nurturing of the youth is done in such a manner that they appreciate this brotherhood, love for each other, community feeling, neighborhood appreciation. And for that, it is very important that the leaders, whether the religious leaders or other leaders from different faiths, they at least in their own communities start telling people about this, and also having interfaith exchanges, visits to other communities, interaction with other communities, going to their temples, they coming to our temples, like that, so that they realize that after all, we are all human beings. It's like, somebody is wearing a sari and the other person is wearing a kurta pajama or a salwar kameez. So same way, it's a religion. But the bottom line is that we are all human beings. And as long as we are human beings, we have to ensure that everybody gets a fair chance to live, and they give a fair chance to others to let live. So youth really has to play a very, very important role. And they have to be involved in this in whatever way it is possible.
Thank you so much for your wonderful message of ahimsa, for your wonderful message of building upon our community relationships. And thank you so much for sitting with us at Sadbhavna, sir.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
nice
you.
day.
Thank you. Wish you all the best. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.